Emma woke up that morning with a smile on her face. It was finally here, her 18th birthday. For weeks she had been counting down the days, dreaming about the party her parents promised. Balloons, cake, friends, music, everything she imagined to make the day special. She lay in bed for a few minutes, letting the excitement fill her chest. Today was supposed to be her day. She quickly got dressed, brushed her hair, and was about to head downstairs when she heard low voices coming from the kitchen. Her parents were whispering. At first, she thought they were planning a surprise. She leaned closer, heart racing, curious. But the words she heard made her freeze. "I don't think we should go through with the party," her mother whispered. "Claire is too upset. It wouldn't be right." Her father sighed. "I agree. She's fragile right now. We can't upset her more by having a big celebration." Emma's hands shook. She pressed herself against the wall, listening, unable to believe what she was hearing. Her mother's voice grew softer. "We'll just tell Emma it's postponed. Claire's feelings come first. You know how she gets." Emma's chest tightened. Her smile faded. "Postponed? No, cancelled." They weren't even thinking about her, not even for a second. She felt like the floor beneath her feet had vanished. This was supposed to be her moment, the one day in her life where she finally mattered. But once again her sister's moods came first. Claire was older, dramatic, always the center of attention. Emma had lived in her shadow for years, but she thought, just for this one birthday, she would finally be seen. Tears stung her eyes as she pushed open the kitchen door. Her parents looked up, startled, guilt flashing across their faces. "You're canceling my birthday?" Emma's voice trembled. Her mother reached for her hand. "Sweetheart, please understand. Claire just broke up with her boyfriend. She's very upset. A party would be too hard for her right now." Emma stepped back, anger rising inside her. "What about me? It's my 18th birthday. Don't I matter?" Her father tried to calm her. "We'll celebrate another time. Claire needs us right now." Emma's heart pounded in her ears. She had been quiet for so long, always giving in, always stepping aside for Claire. But this was too much. Her voice cracked as she looked at them, hurt pouring out of her. "So my happiness doesn't matter, as long as Claire gets her way?" Emma had always been the quiet one in her family. She wasn't loud, she wasn't dramatic, and she never asked for much. She worked hard in school, kept her grades up, and tried to be the kind of daughter who didn't cause problems. She believed that if she was good enough, her parents would see her, notice her, and maybe even be proud of her. But most of the time, she felt invisible. The reason was simple: Claire. Claire was her older sister, 2 years ahead, and from the moment Emma could remember, Claire had been the center of everything. She was beautiful in a way that made people stop and look. She knew how to get attention, how to cry at just the right moment, how to make her problems seem bigger than anyone else's. If Claire was happy, the whole house felt calm. If Claire was upset, everyone tiptoed around her. It had always been that way. Emma could remember dozens of times when her plans or needs were brushed aside for her sister. If Emma wanted to talk about her day, her parents would interrupt to comfort Claire about something small. If Emma needed help with homework, her mom would say, "Not now, Claire is upset." If Emma wanted to join a school trip, the money would mysteriously not be available because it had gone to something Claire wanted instead. Her parents didn't mean to hurt her, at least she hoped so, but they were blinded by Claire's emotions. They excused every outburst, every mistake, every selfish choice. "That's just how Claire is," they would say. "You know your sister is sensitive." Over time, Emma stopped arguing. She learned to stay quiet, to accept that her feelings were always second place. The truth was, it left her lonely. Emma didn't have a lot of friends. She was too shy, too used to being overlooked. But she had Lily. Lily had been her best friend since they were 10 years old. Where Emma was quiet, Lily was bold. She spoke her mind, she laughed loudly, and she never let anyone push her around. She was the one person who always reminded Emma that she deserved better, that her life didn't have to be about living in her sister's shadow. Whenever Emma would complain about Claire, Lily would roll her eyes and say, "Your parents spoil her. They treat her like a queen, and you're left with scraps. You can't keep letting them do this to you." Emma would smile weakly and change the subject. Deep down, she knew Lily was right. But Emma also knew how her family worked. If she spoke up, she was called selfish. If she stood her ground, she was made to feel guilty. It was easier to stay silent. Still, the ache in her chest grew as the years passed. She wanted just once to be seen, to be celebrated, to have something that was hers and hers alone. That was why her 18th birthday mattered so much. It wasn't just a party. It wasn't just balloons and cake. It was a symbol, a chance for her to step out of the shadows, even if only for one night. She had imagined walking into the decorated room, hearing her friends shout, "Happy birthday," and feeling like the main character in her own life, not the side story to Claire's drama. She had spent nights lying awake, thinking about the moment she would finally cut her cake, surrounded by people who were there for her. Not for Claire, not because of pity or guilt, but because it was her day. That hope was the only thing that kept her from drowning in disappointment every time her sister stole the spotlight. It was the reason she had been counting down the days with so much excitement. And now it was gone. Her parents had taken the one chance she had and given it away to Claire again. They hadn't even considered her feelings before making the decision. It felt like her whole childhood, summed up in one moment. Emma's chest tightened as she thought about it. She could already hear Lily's voice in her head. See? This is what I mean. You can't keep letting them take from you. You deserve this. For years, Emma had accepted her role as the forgotten daughter, the quiet sister. But inside her heart, something was shifting. She was tired of always being the one who stepped aside. She was tired of being invisible. Her 18th birthday was supposed to prove she mattered. Instead, it became the proof that, in her family's eyes, she never really did. Later that afternoon, the truth came out. Emma sat quietly in the living room, pretending to scroll through her phone, while her parents spoke with Claire in the kitchen. The walls in the house were thin. Emma didn't even have to try hard to hear them. Claire's voice was sharp and full of drama. I can't deal with a party right now. Do you even care about me? I just broke up with Jason yesterday. How am I supposed to watch Emma celebrate when my whole life is falling apart? Emma froze. So that was it. Claire's latest breakup. Jason was her third boyfriend this year, and their relationship had been rocky from the start. But now, suddenly, his absence was the reason Emma couldn't have her 18th birthday party? Her mother sighed heavily. Oh, sweetheart, I understand. We don't want to push you when you're already in pain. Her father added, Yes, Claire, you're fragile right now. We'll make sure things stay calm until you're feeling better. Emma clenched her fists. Fragile. That word again. It was always the excuse. Claire's fragile heart, her fragile emotions, her fragile state. Somehow, the entire household had to bend and break to protect her. Emma wasn't surprised anymore. But this time, the sting went deeper. This wasn't just about dinner plans or a school event. This was her 18th birthday, a milestone she had dreamed about for years, and Claire had taken it from her without even blinking. She could hear her parents' voices lowering, trying to comfort Claire, but she didn't need to hear more. She already knew the outcome. They would cancel everything. They always did. That evening, Emma called Lily. The moment Lily answered, Emma's voice cracked. They canceled it. Because of Claire. She said she broke up with Jason, and now she can't handle me having a birthday party. On the other end, Lily was silent for a second before letting out a sharp laugh. Are you kidding me? Jason, the guy she's only been with for, 3 months? She's using that as an excuse. She's upset, Emma whispered, though her voice was heavy with bitterness. They said her mental health is fragile. Lily's voice hardened. No, Emma. She's jealous. She can't stand the thought of you being the center of attention so she's playing the victim, and your parents are falling for it like they always do. Emma wiped her eyes, her chest tight. Maybe. But if I say that, they'll call me selfish. They'll say I don't care about Claire's feeling. Selfish. Lily snapped. Wanting to celebrate your 18th birthday is not selfish. Your parents are the selfish ones. And Claire, she's manipulating them. She's scared you'll finally shine, even for one day. That's the truth. Emma didn't respond. Her throat felt tight. She wanted to believe Lily. She wanted to believe she deserved to celebrate, to be happy. But years of being told otherwise made her doubt herself. Listen to me, Emma, Lily said firmly. If you don't stand up now, when will you? They've been walking all over you your whole life. This is your chance to finally say enough. Do it for yourself. Emma's heart ached at Lily's words. She wanted to say she would fight. She wanted to be brave. But the fear of her parents' disappointment was heavy on her chest. They always made her feel guilty when she asked for more. I don't know if I can, Emma whispered. They'll just twist it. They'll tell me I'm being dramatic, that Claire needs me to be understanding. There was a long silence before Lily answered softly. Then you'll spend your whole life being the quiet one, always stepping aside for her. Is that really the life you want? Emma didn't answer. Her hands trembled as she stared at the blank wall in her room. For the first time in her life, she felt something breaking inside her. A piece of her quiet compliance, the part of her that always swallowed her pain and accepted her place in the shadows, was cracking. Her 18th birthday was gone. But deep down, Emma knew something else had been born that day. Something stronger, something restless. A spark that whispered she couldn't live like this anymore. Emma tried to talk to her parents the next morning. She sat with them at the kitchen table, her voice low but steady. I don't understand why Claire's feelings matter more than mine. This is my 18th birthday. I've been waiting for this for years. Her mother sighed, putting down her coffee. Emma, you're being immature. Birthdays come and go. Claire is going through something very difficult. You need to be more understanding. Her father nodded in agreement. We'll do something small for you later. Right now, Claire needs the family's support. Emma's chest burned. So my milestone doesn't matter at all? You promised me this party. Her mother frowned. Stop being dramatic. You're not a little girl anymore. You should learn that life isn't always about you. Emma wanted to scream, but the words stuck in her throat. It wasn't about wanting everything to be about her. It was about this one day, this one chance. But no matter what she said, they didn't hear her. They never did. Later, Claire walked into Emma's room without knocking, as if it belonged to her. She leaned against the doorway, a smirk on her face. So, no party, huh? Emma glared at her. You know this is because of you. Claire flipped her hair. Oh, please, don't be so bitter. No one really cares about your birthday anyway. The words cut deep. Claire said them casually, but Emma felt them like a knife. Claire had always known how to push her buttons, how to make her feel small. Emma stayed silent, refusing to give her the satisfaction of a response. At school, Emma's sadness was hard to hide. Lily noticed immediately. They sat together at lunch, and Lily leaned across the table. You look awful. Did you try talking to them again? Emma nodded weakly. They called me immature. They don't get it. Claire even told me nobody cares about my birthday. Lily slammed her hand on the table. That's it. Enough. Emma, you can't let them do this. You deserve better. Throw your own party. Who cares what they think? Emma's eyes widened. Throw my own party. At my house. They'd never allow it. Then don't do it for them, Lee pressed. Do it for you. Even if it's just a small thing with friends. You deserve to feel celebrated. Emma shook her head. I don't know if I'm brave enough. What if they find out? What if they call me selfish again? Lily leaned closer, her voice firm. Emma, listen to me. They already treat you like you don't matter. What do you have to lose? Do you really want your 18th birthday to disappear like it was nothing? Emma stared down at her food, her hands trembling. Deep inside, Lily's words struck a chord. Maybe she was right. Maybe, for once, she needed to take control. At home, things grew worse. Claire strutted around the house like she had won. She made small comments every time she passed Emma. Cheer up, sis. Maybe next year you'll get a cake. Or, better luck on your 19th birthday. Their parents didn't say anything. Sometimes Emma caught her mother giving her looks of annoyance, as if she was being a burden just by looking sad. Her father avoided her altogether, keeping conversations short. The silence in the house felt heavier every day. Emma started writing in a journal. At first, it was just a way to get her feelings out without crying in front of anyone. She wrote about the whispers in the kitchen, about her parents calling her immature, about Claire's cruel smirk. Each page became a place to pour the pain she couldn't share aloud. But as the days passed, her journal became more than a place for sadness. It became a space for dreams. She wrote about what her party could have been. She listed the people she would have invited. She described the decorations, the music, the food. Writing it all down made the vision feel real, even if only on paper. One afternoon, Lily came over and Emma showed her the journal. Lily read the pages carefully, then looked at Emma with a determined smile. You already know what you want. Why not make it happen? We can do it together. I'll help you plan everything. Emma hesitated. But where? My parents would never allow it here. Lily grinned. Who said it has to be big? My cousin has a small space we can use. Or even my backyard. It doesn't matter where. It matters that it happened. For the first time in days, Emma felt a spark of hope. The idea of actually celebrating, even in a small way, sent warmth through her chest. She could see it now, laughing with friends, cutting a cake, feeling like she finally belonged. That night, Emma sat on her bed with her journal open, a pen in hand. But instead of writing her pain, she started writing a plan. Guest list. Budget. Decorations. Cake. She wrote in neat little bullet points, her heart racing with each one. For once, she wasn't just imagining. She was preparing. She kept it secret, hiding the journal under her mattress when she wasn't writing. She still felt the fear of being caught, of being called selfish. But alongside that fear grew something new, determination. Emma had been quiet all her life, always stepping aside, always being the forgotten one. But this time, she refused to let her birthday vanish into nothing, even if it was small, even if her parents disapproved, even if Claire mocked her. Her 18th birthday would happen, and for the first time, it would belong to her. The night of Emma's secret birthday finally came. She stood in Lily's backyard, her heart pounding as fairy lights glowed above them. It wasn't a big party, just a handful of her closest friends, a small table with snacks, and a cake Lily had baked. But to Emma, it felt magical. For the first time in her life, she was the center of attention, and no one was taking that away. When her friends sang "Happy Birthday," Emma's chest filled with warmth. She smiled so hard her cheeks hurt. Lily squeezed her hand and whispered, "See? You deserve this." For a little while, Emma forgot the pain. She laughed, danced, and blew out her candles with hope in her heart. But then, the sound of a car door slammed from the front of the house. A chill ran through her. Seconds later, Claire stormed into the backyard. Her face was twisted with fury, her eyes burning. "So this is what you've been doing?" Claire's voice cut through the music. "A party behind our backs? You are so selfish, Emma. Do you even care how this makes me feel?" The music stopped. Everyone went quiet. Emma froze, her hands trembling. Claire's voice grew louder. You're ruining everything. You don't care about this family. You only care about yourself. Emma's stomach turned. She looked at the faces around her, her friends staring, Lily clenching her jaw in anger. The words selfish and ruining everything echoed in Emma's head, words she had heard too many times before. But this time something inside her snapped. Her hand stopped shaking. Her voice rose before she could stop it. No, Claire. You're the selfish one. Claire blinked, shocked. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not Emma. Emma stepped forward, her voice trembling with years of bottled pain. All my life, everything has been about you. Every single moment, every single decision. If you were sad, everything stopped. If you were angry, everyone bowed down. If you wanted something, I had to give it up. And when I finally had one thing, just one day that was supposed to be mine, you took it away. Her voice cracked, but she pushed through. Tears filled her eyes. Do you know what it's like to be invisible in your own family? To be treated like you don't matter? To have your parents call you immature just for wanting to feel special once in your life. Her parents, who had followed Claire into the yard, stood frozen at the edge of the crowd. Emma turned on them, her face wet with tears. And you too, she said, pointing at them. You let this happen. Every time she cried, you told me to stay quiet. Every time she messed up, you called her fragile. Every time I needed you, you turned away because Claire needed more. You've excused her for everything and ignored me for years. And now, on the one day that was supposed to be mine, you chose her again. The yard was silent. Only Emma's ragged breathing filled the space. Claire scoffed, but her voice wavered. You're being dramatic. No, Emma shouted, cutting her off. I'm finally telling the truth. I'm not dramatic. I'm not selfish. I am your daughter too. And I deserve to be seen. I deserve to be loved. Her words hung in the air like fire. No one spoke. Among the small crowd, an older woman, Mrs. Johnson, a longtime family friend who had come with her son, shifted uncomfortably. She had watched the entire scene unfold, her eyes narrowing at Claire and Emma's parent. I think Emma is right, Mrs. Johnson finally said, her voice calm but firm. Everyone turned to her. I've known this family for years, and I've seen how you treat these girls. You coddle Claire and overlook Emma. I never wanted to say anything, but tonight proves it. You've broken her spirit. Emma's parents stiffened. Her mother's face went pale. Her father looked away. Mrs. Johnson stepped closer to Emma and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You're not invisible. You are brave. And tonight, you stood up for yourself in a way most people never could. Emma's throat tightened. For once, someone saw her. Someone said the words she had been longing to hear. Her parents said nothing. They stood there in silence, their faces filled with shame. Claire crossed her arms, muttering under her breath, but her voice had lost its power. The rest of the night was quiet after that. Emma's friends stayed close, giving her hugs, reminding her how proud they were of her. Lily leaned in, whispering, You did it. You finally told them. Emma nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks, not from sadness this time, but from release. For the first time in her life, she had spoken her truth. And whether her parents liked it or not, they had heard it. The days after the party felt different for Emma. Something inside her had changed. She no longer wanted to shrink herself to keep the peace. She no longer wanted to live in Claire's shadow, waiting for her turn to matter. For the first time, she felt a quiet strength, like a door had opened and she was finally stepping through. She sat at her desk one evening with her laptop open, filling out college applications. She didn't tell her parents which schools she was applying to, and she didn't let their opinions guide her. She focused on colleges far away, places where she could build a life that belonged to her. Every form she filled out felt like a small act of freedom. She also picked up a part-time job at a small cafe downtown. It wasn't much, but the paycheck gave her something she had never truly had before: independence. Each shift she worked, each dollar she saved, felt like a brick in the foundation of her new life. At home, she started drawing clear lines. When Claire mocked her, Emma didn't respond. When her parents tried to dismiss her feelings, she calmly told them, "That's not fair," and walked away. The silent treatments and guilt no longer had the same power. She refused to carry their weight anymore. Her parents didn't know how to react. For the first time, they began to see her slipping away. Not the obedient, quiet Emma they were used to, but someone who was learning to stand tall. Sometimes, Emma caught her mother staring at her with guilt in her eye. Her father seemed quieter, less sure of his words. But Emma didn't wait for apologies. She had stopped hoping for them. Lily was her anchor through it all. She cheered when Emma showed her the college applications. She clapped when Emma handed her the first paycheck from the cafe. Whenever Emma doubted herself, Lily reminded her, "You're not living for them anymore. You're living for you." Emma began to believe it. Slowly, her world grew bigger than her family's house and her sister's shadow. She had her journal filled with plans and dreams. She had her job and her savings. She had colleges waiting for her application. And most importantly, She had the courage to imagine a future where she wasn't the forgotten daughter. Her parents tried in small ways to reach out. Her mother offered to cook her favorite meal. Her father asked about school. But Emma no longer clung to those crumbs of attention like she used to. She saw them for what they were, too little, too late. Maybe one day they would truly understand what they had done, but Emma wasn't going to wait for that day to live her life. She knew now that she didn't need their validation to be whole. She didn't need their approval to be happy. She had her own voice, her own choices, and her own path to follow. And she was finally walking it. Months passed, and life slowly began to look different for Emma. She had moved closer to the college she chose, working weekends at the cafe, and saving every bit she could. For the first time, she was living on her own terms, not trapped by her parents' decisions or Claire's moods. When her 19th birthday came, it wasn't grand or flashy. Lily gathered a small group of friends at her apartment. There were homemade decorations, a cake from the bakery near her job, and laughter that filled the room. It wasn't the kind of party Emma had once dreamed about, but it felt better. It was real. As she looked around the table, Emma realized something important. These people weren't here because they had to be. They were here because they cared about her, because she mattered. She closed her eyes for a moment, remembering the pain of the year before. The whispers in the kitchen, her parents canceling everything for Claire, the feeling of being invisible. That wound was still there, but it no longer defined her. When she blew out her candles, she smiled and whispered to herself, "They canceled my birthday, but they couldn't cancel me." Her friends clapped and cheered, and Lily leaned over, grinning. "That's right. You're unstoppable now." Emma laughed, and this time it wasn't forced. It was full and free. For the first time, she didn't need her parents' approval or her sister's shadow to remind her who she was. She had built her own life, piece by piece, and she knew this was only the beginning. Her family might never change. They might never apologize or understand what they had done. But Emma no longer waited for that. She was no longer the forgotten daughter. She was Emma, the girl who found her voice, who chose herself, and who would never let anyone cancel her again. Hey besties, thanks so much for watching till the end. Emma's parents canceled her 18th birthday for Claire, but she found her voice, stood up for herself, and built a new life of freedom. Her family canceled her birthday, but they couldn't cancel her. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, comment, and of course, subscribe for more. See you in the next one. Bye!